Okay, we're doing this final question on today's handout. We want the LCD of the two fractions that we have on number 4. And the way to do that is to first factor out anything possible. So the first thing you probably want to do is factor out a 3x from the second fraction's denominator. So if you do pull out a 3x, what will you have left on the inside? You're going to have a 3x and a minus 4. So I could put a line right through this guy because I already rewrote it in factored form. Okay, let's take a look at the other one. The other fraction, that denominator is 3x squared. So the best way to go about this one, I mean, it's already factored, but imagine if I had a 6, well, I would want to break it down to 3 times 2. Or if I had a 9, I'd want to break it down to 3 times 3. So right here you have a 3, which you can't break down, but the x squared you could break it down. So it's really going to be 3 times x, okay? And now that we have both denominators in factored form, now I could write my LCD, my common denominator. So I'm going to have a new fraction here, a subtraction sign, a new fraction here. And what is the common denominator? How do we get the common denominator? Remember, whatever repeats on this guy and this guy, we just write it once. Okay, so what's repeating? Well, technically, we have a 3x that's repeating right there. And we have a 3x right here. So we're able to write that single 3x as a denominator. Okay? Now, what else is there? You have to bring everything else down. This x, you got to bring it down. And this 3x minus 4, you got to bring it down also. So let's actually write it. You're going to have that x that you brought down. And you're also going to have the 3x minus 4 that you brought down. And ladies and gentlemen, that's your LCD. That's your lowest common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. 3x times x times 3x minus 4. Okay? There you go. So anyway, now the trick is to go back up here and think, what did I do to this denominator to get this new denominator? Well, up here we have a 3x and another x. There it is, 3x and another x. What's missing? What's missing is the 3x minus 4. So I need to put a 3x minus 4 up there. So I'm going to put a 3x minus 4 right here. And I'm also going to do it to the top. 3x minus 4. And of course you're going to distribute the 1 to both terms, and you're going to get 3x minus 4. And on the other one, let's think about it. What's missing from this regular factored form denominator to this new LCD? Well, you have the 3x, there's a 3x. You have the binomial 3x minus 4, there's the binomial 3x minus 4. What's the only thing missing? That x, the multiplication of x. So go ahead and put a times x right here, and also a times x up there. So what's our new numerator for the second fraction? It's actually x times x, which is x squared. So ladies and gentlemen, we now have a common denominator. And how are we going to work this remainder of the problem out? You're simply going to combine the top with the top and write your answer over that common denominator, 3xx, parenthesis at 3x minus 4. So let me actually rewrite my common denominator to get my final answer going. And instead of writing 3xx, I might as well write it as 3x squared, because 3x times x is really 3x squared. And of course we have the 3x minus 4 over here. That is our common denominator. So all I need to do, focus in on now, is combining this top guy with this top guy. Now of course the minus sign, it's really this one minus this one. So the minus sign really belongs to the x squared. And if you think about it, you can't combine anything. You can't combine the x squared with anything else, can't combine the x with anything else, or the minus 4 with anything else. So my final answer is this minus sign that belongs with the x squared, so that's a negative x squared. And then you have the positive 3x. And last but not least, you have the minus 4. And ladies and gentlemen, this is your final answer. Now, yes, you are supposed to try and continue factoring. Now, what do I mean by that? If you look at the top part of your answer, you might think, well, maybe if I pull out a -1, maybe I'll have an x squared minus 3x plus 4, and maybe I could continue factoring. But if you think about it, what times what is 4 that if you add together is -3? That doesn't work. 4 times 1 is 4, add it, it's 5. 2 times 2 is 4. If you add it or subtract it, it's not going to give you -3. So we know it's not factorable any further. So I would just not even bother factoring out a -1 and just recognize that this is your final answer. Of course, multiple choice tests, maybe you don't see this answer right here. They might actually distribute the denominator back, the 3x squared, distribute it back in and rewrite it as a quadratic trinomial also. But on my test, I would just leave it like that. Okay, I hope this helps.